right now on News Channel 8 at 6.
Gloomy skies, downpours, even some problems with flooding. We'll have an update on this stormy night ahead. Also,
they had my mom, and I have to protect my mother and my child.
Dogs on the attack tried to break through a window, but then a Bay Area woman opened fire.
and Ferguson, Missouri reels from a night of violence. Protesters here in the Bay Area talk about the grand jury's decision. Good evening. I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Gail Sierens. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Steve Jervy. He's in the Forecast Center with the latest on the storms now moving through the Bay Area tonight. Steve.
Well, Keith, we've already seen 3 inches of rain, possibly plus here as we head into the evening hours. So a flood watch is in effect for all of the Bay Area, but particularly where rain has already fallen. We're seeing more showers falling over the same spot. That's just the evening and tonight and the overnight. From Brooksville all the way down to Pinellas County, the northern part of Hillsborough County, heavy rain. The little white dots are lightning strikes. The intensity's come down, but still a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and it's adding up to a whole lot of rainfall totals. West of Dade City, you can see around Zephyr Hills, and all of this block of showers, northern part of Pinellas, Hillsborough County, western sections of Pasco. Pasco right now pretty much drenched at the moment. This goes all the way down to the western part of Manatee County. Not as heavy, but there's still some offshore. Inland areas are quieter, but some of this should slowly move your way here as the evening goes along. Estimates from Doppler radar say these northern areas have seen the most 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of rain in some of these spots, and more possible as the showers come on shore. So flooding the big concern, not so much severe weather, but we'll watch for everything and keep you posted here, and a bit more on the Thanksgiving forecast coming up.
All right, thank you, Steve. And a reminder, you can check the radar in between newscasts by logging on to WFLA.com or on your smartphone with the Storm Team 8 Weather Max app. A dog attack in St. Petersburg last night ended with gunfire. A woman shot and wounded 2 pit bulls who were clawing and biting their way through her mother's bedroom window. 8 on your side's Mark Douglas has our exclusive report.
Around 6:30 last night, 2 pit bulls crawled through a backyard fence separating neighbors. That set in motion a terrifying confrontation at this bedroom window.
There's 2 pit bulls in my yard from my neighbor.
Are you inside, ma'am?
Yes, but they've broken the screen. No!
The dog bit the woman's hands. That's when her daughter rushed in and shot the dogs.
They just bit me in my bedroom window. I just want them to get out of here.
They had my mom, and I have to protect my mother and my child.
The victim's daughter asked us not to identify her, but she wants people to know why she shot her neighbor's dogs.
The blood-curdling scream that came from her asking for my help, that was the only thing I could do.
The woman told me those pit bulls have broken through her fence 7 times and terrorized her family for months. Last night was the final time.
I need somebody here now.
Police determined the shootings were justified. The dog's owner took them to a clinic for treatment of minor gunshot injuries, surrendered them, and they ended up with Pinellas Animal Services.
We couldn't even approach the cage without them coming to the front of the cage and really getting barking and growling and agitated.
The county vet euthanized both animals due to aggressive behavior. The victim's daughter feels terrible, but would do it again.
Anything to protect my mother and my child, that is why I have the gun.
In St. Petersburg, I'm Mark Douglas, News Channel 8.
No one answered our knock at the door of the woman who owned the 2 pit bulls. There is a sign, though, on the front window that cautions visitors to beware of dog.
In the past 24 hours, Ferguson, Missouri has burned once again. Protests turned violent following the announcement last night that Officer Darren Wilson would not face charges in the shooting death of 18-year-old Michael Brown. Today, torched and vandalized businesses lay in ruins in Ferguson. At least a dozen businesses were set on fire. Police made 61 arrests, mostly for burglary and trespassing. Brown's family held a press conference today. Their attorney said the legal process that led to no charges is unfair and broken. Here in the Bay Area, protesters gathered in Tampa and St. Petersburg to express their anger. Jeff Patterson joining us now live in Tampa. Jeff?
Good evening, Gail. No protest right now at the Tampa Police Department. As a matter of fact, the weather may have had a role today. Far different scene here than in Ferguson. The protests were held here during the middle of the day, not at night. The protests were small and nonviolent.
This is what resistance looks like!
In St. Petersburg, the protest was organized by the Uhuru movement. Uhuru leader Umali Yeshatila believes the police are the problem.
The police are ubiquitous in our community. They are always there as an occupying force in our community. They're always harassing, especially young African people.
Protesters in St. Petersburg blocked a downtown intersection, but they did it without incident. Police stayed back and even blocked traffic to allow the demonstration to go on. Some people honked their horns, and one man came out to scream at the protesters.
Ask him first! So we asking you nicely to back up. Because you're not in this demonstration, that's why.
But nothing happened.
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
In Tampa, about 40 people gathered outside of the Hillsborough County Courthouse.
Don't shoot!
Some people found out about this protest through social media and felt compelled to join it.
I want change. I'm really tired of seeing the same thing happen over and over again.
Yeah, no arrests, no injuries, no destruction to property here in Tampa or in St. Petersburg today. A lot of people, however, angry about the decision in Ferguson. I did notice, though, on Facebook and Twitter today, as I was looking around, that a lot of people are angry over the violence in Ferguson. So obviously, two very different groups of people looking at the situation with different eyes. Gail?
All right, Jeff, thank you.
And now to an 8 on your side investigation. He paid for a brand name liquor while he was at a Buccaneers game. What he got was nothing more than colored water. It made us wonder, are people getting what they pay for at Raymond James Stadium? 8 on your side senior investigative reporter Steve Andrews took a look, and he's joining us now with his findings. Steve.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're looking for a winning, if you're paying for a winning football team over there, you're certainly not getting your money's worth this season. But this is an interesting one. How do you go about proving that someone was served water instead of booze? Well, it helps if the customer had a cell phone recording in the bar at the time. I reviewed the video to determine if what football fan Troy Sykes told me actually happened. In order to do a story like this, you also need to know what the law says. It certainly sounds inappropriate to pay for tequila and be served water. In Florida, liquor licenses fall under the Department of Business and Professional Regulations Division of Alcohol and Tobacco. Once I reviewed the law and watched the video shot by the customer, I learned that there were even more issues than just serving water as booze. So I also reached out to the vendor that handles concessions for the Buccaneers, Aramark. And I also spoke with an alcohol industry attorney who told me the infractions that Aramark admitted to could lead to a liquor license suspension.
And it makes you wonder, I mean, if you have one customer that this happened to, how many others could there be? Because this is the only one we know about who came forward.
Absolutely. Aramark claims, though, that it had no other reports of anything else like this happening. And without this cell phone video, we really wouldn't have been able to confirm this story, and I'll show you more of that tonight.
All right, look forward to your report coming up tonight at 11 o'clock on News Channel 8. Thank you, Steve. And tonight, there is another arrest in a prostitution and human trafficking operation.
And the shocking part is investigators say it involved high schoolers recruiting fellow teenagers to take part. The latest developments in this story coming up.
Also ahead tonight, he may have been teaching the kids to steal second, but investigators believe a Bay Area baseball dad was doing some stealing of his own.
2 Sarasota County teenagers have been busted for recruiting prostitutes after school. 17-year-old Alexa De Armas and 15-year-old Julian Mathena were charged with human trafficking. Officials say over the past few months, the pair recruited teenage girls across the county to have sex with adult men. Police only know of one 15-year-old girl who had a sexual encounter for money. Officials believe they have shut down that operation.
It is a curveball the kids never expected. Their own baseball coach is charged with stealing more than $10,000. That money was supposed to fund batting cages. The Polk County Sheriff describes Corey Bora as the worst kind of thief there is.
He stole from children, from kids, and that's outrageous. Children who he should have been setting a positive example for.
Bora used the money for hotel rooms, car washes, and meals. He was arrested yesterday at his home in Seffner. Tonight, he's in the Hillsborough County Jail. Well, the taps are dry at the home of one Bay Area water customer.
She didn't pay an outrageously big water bill, so the company shut it off. And this is far from the first problem customers have had with Plurus water. 8 on Your Side investigates coming up. And now the latest in an 8 on Your Side investigation. Hillsborough County residents stuck paying high water rates for gross water are fed up. Our investigation led Hillsborough County to vote out Plurus, the private utility. But forcing Plurus to sell to the county has been difficult.
And in the meantime, residents tell 8 on Your Side Shannon Benkin they face retaliation.
Good evening. For customers of Plurus, the water is smelly and expensive. Late fees pile up and the water is cut off. The only way to turn it back on is to pay in full.
I feel like I was hijacked.
First, Lindley Mahalik was hit with this outrageous water bill for $1,200.
They didn't find no leaks, no outstanding water. They asked if I am doing construction at my house. I've not. And they checked my meter out. Nothing wrong with my meter. They just wanted their payment.
She signed up for a payment plan, but complains her private utility, Plurus American Infrastructure, kept losing her checks. Then she came home to find this on the door and no water.
November 19th, they shut my water off with no notification, and it was very upsetting.
She blames Plurus and thinks the company is retaliating against her Pebble Creek neighborhood after residents protested. Hillsborough County commissioners gave Plurus the boot, but it's a slow legal process.
I've been in this house for 25 years. I've never had a problem with utility company, electric company, water company until Plurus took over.
And she's not the first to complain of big bills and lump payments to 8 on Your Side. Residents in Eastlake near the Hard Rock Casino complain not only of crazy high bills, but of cloudy, gross water, too.
I want to be on county water. I want fairness, too.
Mahalik can't get rid of Plurus fast enough. But in the meantime,
what do you want to happen now?
I would like a refund of what I don't owe in the late fees.
The county commission has agreed to buy Plurus for $14.1 million, but that will require one more vote in a couple of weeks. The hope is that by mid-January, these customers will be on county water. Shannon Benkin, 8 on Your Side.
Well, the turkey is dancing, and of course we want great weather no matter where we are, in Tampa Bay or anywhere in the country you may be traveling. 68 degrees in the afternoon. The bottom line is we will have great weather. It'll be certainly a little cooler behind that front and windy too, but overall we're trending much quieter than we've seen today. Around the rest of the country, this is for tomorrow, the biggest travel day of the year, so take a good look at weather no matter where you may be headed. Salt Lake at 51, 34 in Chicago, 56 in Memphis. A little bit of action up here in the Northeast, kind of messy in spots, but closer to the major cities like New York and the major airports in Boston. Snow should be a little bit less, 1 to 2 inches. It's inland, perhaps you could pick up just a little bit more than that. 39 in D.C. As we get to Thanksgiving Day itself, weather not too bad, certainly across the state of Florida. 39 Kansas City, 29 in Chicago, nice on the West Coast. Also out here in Albuquerque, 38 degrees in Boston as the snow wraps up on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. This is what I was talking about. You can see Boston here, New York not as bad, but Poughkeepsie, places like Hartford, Springfield, Massachusetts, and Allentown, Pennsylvania. This is with a brief little snowstorm that could rocket across that area. For us locally, a lot of folks driving in the state of Florida. The weather for tomorrow is pretty good. Maybe some showers farther south that you go. We talked about morning showers for the Bay Area. As we get into Thanksgiving Day, you can see how this cold front pushes all the way through the state and clears out the skies. Gives us great weather no matter where you travel, from Miami to Tallahassee to Jacksonville. A little bit cooler, obviously, farther to the north. Main threat for weather here is mostly rain. Possible flooding if areas that have already seen a couple of inches of rain could get a bit more. Lightning, yes. Tornado fairly low. We actually did have some funnel clouds just east of Polk County and Osceola County. A couple of tornado warnings there. Showers and thunderstorms continue to fall. You see they extend out into the Gulf of Mexico as well. So we can't rule out possibility of seeing more thunderstorms on places like Manatee and other spots in Pinellas County this evening. Very heavy rain right now. Hernando, Pasco, northern sections of Hillsborough County. Rain rates of 3 inches per hour plus, so very impressive totals, needless to say. We've already picked up 1.89 inches of rain, so it's been fairly high. You can see that rain continues to move Tierra Verde all the way down to Sarasota, east of Bradenton at the moment, but fairly quiet inland at the moment. Folks in Sebring and Lake Placid and Fort Meade are saying, what are you talking about? Haven't seen much rain, at least in the afternoon. As I mentioned, record rainfall so far, still falling too. We could pick up a bit more. The old record, 1.65 inches, so the rain continues to come down. 9 p.m. 77, rain likely. shortly. 64 degrees at 3 p.m. for tomorrow. Skies will be clearing. Temperatures will be cooling down. We can thank that front moving away from us for that. Early morning, still some showers, southern areas. So you folks in Sebring may still see a morning shower. You can see how it's clearing here from north to south behind the front. The clouds slowly move away as the day goes along. Breezy, cooler, sunny. But the temperatures will definitely be a big change. It was a very warm and humid atmosphere for today, so the air will feel much differently tomorrow. 40% rain chance for Wednesday. Or first half of the day, the early part of the day. Second half of the day, sunshine, windy, and that carries all the way into Thanksgiving Day. Still a bit of a breeze, but pleasant 68. We're going to recool the air there on Friday. Then by the weekend, jump back up in the mid and upper 70s. I never get tired of that.
It never gets old, Steve. It's true. It's true.
The more you do it,
Poor
the
guy
funnier.
just doesn't know what's coming, does he?
No.
Well, still coming sports tonight. Bucs head coach Lovie Smith is still frustrated over the play of his offense against the Bears.
And a familiar face is back in Tampa. Former Lightning captain Marty St. Louis tells us what kind of reception he thinks he might get tomorrow from Bolts fans.
Sports on News Channel 8 is brought to you by Honda.
Forgive Bay Area sports fans if they're still a little upset over the recent Joe Madden exit. Yes, we've had some sore spots lately. But Lightning fans who attend tomorrow night's game against the New York Rangers, they'll be the barometer for how fans feel more than 8 months after Marty St. Louis was sent to the New York Rangers. Marty returns tomorrow night for the first time since the trade he was so adamant about that upset a lot of Lightning fans. How do you feel about it? Here's what Marty had to say this afternoon after practice at Amalie Arena.
No, I mean, people are entitled to their opinion, you know, and I respect it, you know. I know a lot of them probably, you know, will heal with time. So, you know, it is what it is, and I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best.
Listen, it is human nature to want to hang on to that grudge a little bit, but consider the outcome of this deal. The Lightning got a young veteran, Ryan Callahan. The Bolts are dead even with the Rangers with 30 points. I think Marty deserves a polite welcome, but every time Ryan Callahan touches the puck tomorrow night, how about we give him a roar? That will speak volumes in a classy way. All right, the Bucs beat the rain today by heading to Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg for today's practice session. And on Monday, head coach Lovie Smith was critical of the offensive line in the loss to the Bears. And unfortunately, the numbers prove him right. 5 quarterback sacks. Today, Lovie said nothing is going to improve until the quarterback can stay on his feet.
This week it was frustrating. We took too many shots. I talked earlier about we didn't play as well as we needed to up front. Something we do need to clean up. We want him to, stay upright and have a chance to get it to the guys that can catch it.
A lot of good things happen when you're upright, but hey, put your feet up. Saturday night, 7 o'clock for the Bucs Bonus Show. We're going to dive into this continued issue with the running game right here on News Channel 8. And I wish I could say with confidence that Florida State remains at least third tonight when the new college football playoff rankings come out. But the way last Saturday's win played out, combined with the committee's clear lack of love for FSU, who knows? I don't know what we're going to see.
It wouldn't surprise me if they dropped. It wouldn't
surprise me at all.
They're still undefeated, though. You can't take that away.
The build-up for this Florida game is awesome. A lot of people now thinking the Gators might have an upset story. Yes.
And then Muschamp gets his job back? No.
I don't think so.
All right, that's the news for now. Thanks for watching. NBC Nightly News is next.
And remember, you can get your news anytime by downloading the WFLA News Channel 8 app. And be sure to join Jennifer Lee and Steve here for 8 at 7.
And we're back at 11. Good night, everybody.
Good night.